Hello, welcome. What you're about to see is not for the faint-hearted. What you're about to see is what I like to call the scary doors. Good luck.
Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Underdog Eats Views and I watched another episode of the Twilight Zone. Well, yesterday. Because I fell asleep. Well, that shit happens. But let's just start with the Twilight Zone, shall we? We see some people sit on the side of the road, and a bus is coming up. It's a local bus, number 35, and it stops in front of the people. The doors open, and outside, we see a close-up of a pair of legs coming outside. The woman walks into the building walks up to the building that's across, in front of the bus, basically. If you walk out of the doors from the bus, it's right in front. So she walks up to that building, and she's all from, oh, don't be close, don't be close. And she tried the door for closed. So she knocks on the glass of the door, and a security guard comes. He says to her, "We're closed." But then she says, "Well, it just takes a minute. I really need it today." The security guard is being called, and he walks off. She then says, "Hey, please don't walk away." Knock, knock, knock. And then, she looks inside. The lights are still burning. And another guy walks up. He says the same thing, "We're closed." And then she says her whole spiel. "Yes, I know, it only takes a minute. I have to have it today." So he opens the door for her. And we're gonna leave it at that, because if you don't know what's gonna happen next, watch the episode yourself. The first story really reminded me of the first version of the Twilight Zone, because maybe not the exact same thing, but there was a similar story, because in that story there was also people that were mannequins, and they could go outside for a couple days or something like that, and then they have to come back, and then there's the next turn. And it's a bit of the same story with this one. She was outside for a month, and now a month is up, so she felt the urge she had to come back tonight. So she came back, and now it's somebody else's turn to go outside. I don't mind it, because it's still fun, but it's on the one hand a bit lazy. We already had that story, just like with another one that we did in the first season, I think, where a guy went to court and it was all his dream and all. But that one we also had in the first version of the Twilight Zone, the 1959 version. So it's, in my eyes, a bit lazy. Just make a new story, and put it there, instead of reusing a story or just rebooting a story. But that's just me, probably. Overall, the story was just a good story, nonetheless. I enjoyed the story. It was a good story. It was also pretty interesting, actually. The second story was also a good story. I can't really remember what the second story was about, but it was. Oh yeah, I remember. It was very short, but it was still a good one. And the third story, I just can't remember. But no, story was probably alright. So I will give this whole episode a 4 out of 5 because it was just a good episode. Yeah, and I enjoyed 2 out of 3 stories, so you know, it's good for me. That said, I'm gonna leave it at that. Leave likes, recommend a good show down below in the comment section, subscribe to the channel, come join Discord. I'll see you guys next time. After we watch Twilight Zone, we're gonna watch Squid Game. So if you want to see Squid Game, come to the channel, subscribe.